Hello, sports fans. I am Sage Marler coming to you today from SportsBrosWorld.com. I am rolling solo today. Timbo Slice is having a little bit of issues. Just want to give a shout out to him and everybody in the Wichita, Kansas area. Looks like they had a pretty bad storm last night, messed up quite a bit of stuff, some pretty tough winds and thunderstorms. So, thoughts are with everybody out there, and I grew up there, so I just want to say one of my favorite amusement parks as a kid, Joyland. It's probably now officially 100% done after this storm. The wooden roller coaster is non-existent anymore, so that sucks. Anyway, moving right along, today we're going to cover some news and notes. Won't be as long today. News and notes, going to go through a few DL suspensions, things like that, and then we're going to go through the opening day starters. First off, I want to start by saying Sports Bros World is going to be expanding here in the next year. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to all the fantasy hockey, fantasy NBA guys that are in the playoffs, winning their championship, or at least coming close this year. Congrats. Next year, we'll be giving you our full advice, maybe even add some more beyond that, get into some MMA or something like that. Just wanted to give a shout out to those guys. Keep listening because this summer, before the drafts, we're definitely going to get into that. So keep us in mind for all your news and notes there. So, speaking of news, most of it pretty much in the baseball world. So, Josh Hamilton, after his drug rehab relapse, today MLB announced that they are not going to suspend him, which is a good thing for anybody that drafted him. Unless he relapses into a great hitter, I'm avoiding him regardless. So that's a bad joke. I'm sorry. Anyway, I hate making puns of anybody dealing with an issue that I'm not, so I apologize there. But next on the list is Timbo Slice's favorite guy that we talked about in our preseason rankings. Justin Verlander is going to start the year on the DL. Looks like he's probably not going to miss a whole lot of time, but this is definitely not a good sign for an aging superstar that has thrown a ton of innings over his career. So look out if you're a Verlander, a guy that drafted Verlander. It's a tough way to start the season for him. And just recently, in the last few hours today, we learned that Irving Santana is going to be suspended for steroids, 80 games. This is a big hit to the Twins. He was definitely at the top of their rotation. I hope you didn't draft him. If you did, I probably wouldn't hang on to him. He's not worth putting a roster spot for that long for a guy that's, probably going to be the fourth or fifth pitcher at best on your roster. So, Jared Cozart, the guy, the Marlins pitcher that had the issue with betting, we talked a little bit about it last week. Looks like he's not going to get suspended. Kind of a lost in translation thing. Looks like there was a bookie that was kind of out to get him a little bit. So MLB made a good decision there, I think, but I'm sure he's going to be watched with a very close eye from now on. Next, Puig and Kendrick of the Dodgers had a little collision. Both of them are fine, and Kershaw had his line drive hit him last week, so they're all fine. So the Dodgers are looking pretty good. A little bit of scares in the spring for a team that is definitely contending, so tough to see that happen in the spring, but good thing is they're all fine, so that's a good thing. Last on the news and notes, pretty much the NBA is down to Seth Curry and Harden for your league MVP. I think Harden's going to take it just because, I don't know. I think he is a more well-rounded player, and that's what they're looking for. Seth Curry is, probably the best shooter on the planet right now, and he is leading a team that is kind of running away with their division and everything. So it's hard to dispute either one of them. I like Harden, but slightly. It's not much. And Westbrook is probably going to finish third. And it's tough for him because really his team is possibly not going to make the playoffs. So how can you vote for a league MVP that's not in the playoffs? So that's not a good thing. All of his triple doubles are coming in games that his team barely won or lost. So that's definitely not a leader. He's probably not a most valuable player. I shouldn't say leader, but good leaders elevate everybody else, in my opinion. So, all right, moving right along. Before we get to that, take care of a little business that I forgot at the top of the show. You obviously found button, please. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. Sportsbrosworld.com is our website. You can check out Timbo Slice's blog. You can check out on YouTube or on our website my video blog, Sage of Seven. Last week, I went over some position battles that kind of got sorted out in the spring. This week, I'm going to go over, since the draft is already going to happen by the time I do it, go over some trade info, basically tips to trade, what you should and should not do, what you should take advantage of and not get taken advantage of yourself, things like that. So keep a lookout. Timbo Slice puts up a written blog once a week usually. He goes over quite a bit of stuff. We try to coordinate to where we're not covering the same crap over and over, give you as much advice as we can. So moving right along to the opening day starters, I'm going to go basically alphabetical order by the team nickname. We'll start in the NL and the Atlanta Braves. Tehran is going to be the opening day starter, and I'm going to make a case for Wood. I love Alex Wood. I think he's up and coming. And I personally think he's just a better pitcher. I'd rather have him not only for his relief eligibility, but I just think he is a lot less up and down. So he's a more steady guy. And I'm going to preface this whole segment by saying this. If you're a starter and you're a good quality starter, and even if you're an ace that started an opening day, unless you get taken over drastically by a teammate, or your team trades for somebody that is drastically better than you. If you started last year's opening day, you've put in your time, you've done it with the team, it's your turn. That's my opinion. They keep you there until someone definitely overrules you. I'll give you some examples as we go, but I don't like a team trading for someone and then putting them on there unless it's a substantially big difference. So next up is the Brewers, Kyle Lohse. I don't have any problem with this at all. I think he's the best pitcher on their staff. I think he has been for a while. I like Lohse. He's a quality pitcher, and he's pretty consistent too. So the Cards, there was a little scare that it wasn't going to happen, but Adam Wainwright will take the ball opening day and opening night, I should say. And yeah, how can you debate it? He's the best pitcher on their staff when he's healthy. I think he's one of the best pitchers in the league. He's the guy that I'll give the ball to in Game 7 and not worry about it, period. Next up on the list is the Cubbies. This is a situation where the Cubs definitely traded for somebody better than anyone on their staff. This is one of those things that I don't know. I like the thought of somebody coming in there and taking over the staff, but there's guys on that roster that, put in their time. I think Lester is definitely better, but it's tough to say. If they still had Samardzija, if they didn't trade him last year, I think it'd be a different story. But they don't. So John Lester is the guy. The one Lester is he's they're that or not. He do like as on their team now. So next is Josh Collmeter from the Diamondbacks. Obviously, I don't think this would happen. If Corbin hadn't had his Tommy John surgery, he was definitely the guy up and coming until last year when he went down with the Tommy John. It stinks. I think both of them are kind of in the same ballpark as far as skills. So who do you pick? And one guy's healthy, so he obviously gets the nod. The Dodgers, there's a no-brainer. It's the best pitcher in baseball, Clayton Kershaw. And the Giants, how can you deny someone who took over the World Series and literally hoisted everyone on their back? It's Madison Bumgarner. He has just rocked in the playoffs, and he's still the best player on the team. Everyone else is kind of off, and to come Kane. And you got a few young arms in there, but no one's coming close. He's your opening day starter, so yeah, how can you debate it? Moving along to the Marlins, Alvarez got the nod. Now, obviously, this is the same situation where you look at a guy that got hurt last year and probably would be the opening day starter if he hadn't. And Jose Fernandez, I love Jose Fernandez. He's probably going to be back mid-year, but Alvarez is your ace right now. So what can you do? This is the head scratcher, I should say. Bartolo Colon for the Mets. I don't get it. I guess they wanted Harvey to open up at home, but Harvey's your best pitcher. You roll him out there as much as you can. And obviously, I think this leads to concerns about Matt Harvey having an innings limit with the Mets. This is a year they can contend. I think they can make the playoffs this year. They don't need to be doing that stuff. I think it's a stupid move by the Mets management. I know they're thinking long term, but this is a year they could do some damage. I think you put him out there, period. Next up is the Nats. And this is a case like I spoke to before. I do not think Max Scherzer is far and away better than Steven Strasburg or Jordan Zimmermann. I think they're all very good quality starters. And I think Strasburg still deserves the nod opening day. You kind of are breaking a guy's ego to a degree doing that. Let's say you roll Strasburg out there. He still thinks in his head, I'm the king of this staff. I'm the ace of this staff. I'm the stopper. Now you think in October down the line when they say, you know what, we're not going to let you go out there game one of the playoffs. We're going to roll Scherzer out. He's had a better year. You're number two. Zimmerman's number three, however they want to match it up. But I don't think you destroy his confidence this early in the season. You get the ball rolling. I think if you tell him that in October, he's going to be thinking of what's better for the team. Right now, players are trying to get in groove, and you're hurting confidence a little bit by telling them, no, you're not the ace, especially since you've been the ace the last 4 or 5 years. I don't like that decision. I would have went to Strasburg. Padres traded for James Shields. He's the best pitcher on the staff. This is the opposite end of the equation. Who are you going to put out there that's better than him? I don't think you can come up with a good answer. So James Shields is the starter opening day. The Phillies, again, another no-brainer. This is Cole Hamels. He won't be the starter there opening day next year because he's not going to be playing for the Phillies next year. Seems like this keeps getting closer and closer to a trade. I think this is the year it happens. He is saying some things in the media that's not great. He's kind of semi-demanding trades. The team's going to be bad, so I think he gets traded to a contender this year. The Pirates, Liriano. I like Liriano. I think he's a good pitcher. He's had his ups and downs. AJ Burnett is a guy I would definitely think about throwing out there. Just, again, not to destroy his confidence, but it is what it is. I think it's a toss-up, and Liriano has paid a little more dues in Pittsburgh, so you give him the nod. Next up is the Reds with Cueto. I love Cueto. There's no disputing this. Who are you going to put out there? Homer Bailey? I mean, somebody like that, it's not going to happen. Cueto's as good a pitcher as almost anybody in the majors, so you roll him out there even if you have a crappy staff. And the Rockies are going with Kyle Kendrick. After looking at the Rockies starting five, I don't know how you dispute this. I think any of the five could have got the nod, really. But Kyle Kendrick's the one that did it. This boost his confidence is definitely his first opening day start. So roll with him. Hopefully, it helps him out, boosts his confidence, and he continues that for the first part of the season and beyond. It's going to be hard to do in the thin air up here in Colorado, but we'll see. All right, on to the AL. Starting off with the Angels. Jared Weaver. Again, he's been the guy there. He is kind of a head case, so I understand. He's a really emotional guy. Shows it out there a lot. So I understand throwing him out there. But if you're talking pure stats, you got to look at Wilson or Shoemaker. I don't think it's their time yet. I think it's a smart move by the Angels to keep him out there, not destroy his confidence, like I'm saying, this early. So probably a good move. Astros, Dallas Keuchel. I like this move. I think he is probably the best pitcher on that staff. It's a young staff. Colin McHugh is a guy I would definitely think about. But again, this is a young staff. You're going to boost anybody's confidence by putting them up there number one. So, flip a coin, whatever. The Astros are looking good. They're on their way up. There's probably going to be some talks of them looking for even more pitching help because I think they're going to be contending this year to at least get a playoff spot. So look for them to make some moves. Next up is the A's. Oakland A's. Sonny Gray is clearly the number one out there. There's some guys that could contend, but Sonny Gray is your guy. I don't have any issues with that. The Blue Jays are next. Blue Jays rolling out Drew Hutchison. I was shocked a little by this move, but after looking at their starting five, I mean, I don't know who else you throw out there. I would have probably looked at Burley just to keep his confidence up, but I think Burley's not a egotistical guy. He's not a head case. He's not very emotional out there on the mound, so I mean, you might as well say, hey, take a backseat, let this youngster come up and show you what he can do. So it's probably a good move for them, too. The Indians, next on the list. Kluber, Cy Young winner. What do you say? You got to start him the next year. That's a pretty good rule of thumb. So we'll move right along to the Mariners. King Felix, former Cy Young Award winner. This is a guy that's anchored that staff for years. You can number one. The O's. Baltimore has 5 decent pitchers, starting pitchers, but none of them are great, and that's the AL East for you right there, pretty much. But they're rolling out Chris Tillman. Tillman's a good pitcher. He's not a guy I would really necessarily want anchoring my fantasy staff, but for what it's worth, I mean, the guy can strike guys out. He may be one of the best pitchers in that division, which is kind of crazy to say. But I would look at Chen, too, as a starter there. Again, this is, the whole AL East. You can pretty much, roll out 3 or 4 different pitchers on each staff. So I don't think any of these teams are really making a crucial decision. A lot of young arms in the AL East, so we'll see. But Tillman's a good choice, I think. Looks like the Rangers next on the list. Obviously, this was Yu Darvish's job before he got hurt. How that stinks for them. What can you say? Yasmani Gallardo, I think is how you say that. Timbo Slice is laughing at me when he hears that one. Is going to get the nod. He's a good pitcher. He can strike guys out. I personally would have probably rolled out Holland on this one just because he's kind of paid his dues a little more. I think they're both about the same, skill set as far as right now in their careers. Obviously, Holland's a little older, so I don't know. You give confidence to the younger guy. It's not a bad choice, but I would have looked at Holland. Rays next on the list. Chris Archer is getting the nod mainly because Cobb is going to start probably on the DL. What can you do? Archer is probably the next man up in that rotation, so not a bad choice. My beloved Red Sox are starting Clay Buchholz. This is a touchy subject for me. I like Buchholz. I think this will help his confidence, but I do not think he's the best pitcher on the staff. And there's probably 3 or 4 guys that could make a case for best pitcher on the staff there, but Porcello is the guy I would have probably went with. Going to a new franchise, I think it would have been good move for the Red Sox to possibly, say, hey, we believe you're our guy. We traded for you for a reason. So there is, some gray area there, but this will probably boost Buchholz's confidence. If the Red Sox make the playoffs, I think in a series you're not going to see Buchholz starting game 1. Hell, you may see Cole Hamels starting game 1. Who knows? So anyway, we move right along to the Royals. Kansas City Royals sending out Ventura. I like this move. He's a good, young, solid pitcher, racking up the Ks. At the K, doo-dooch. Anyway, good choice. Tigers rolling out Price. What else do you do? Verlander's on the DL. Scherzer's playing for the Nats. He's your only choice left. Twins, Phil Hughes. After looking at their staff, I can't debate this. Phil Hughes is one of those pitchers that he just gets the job done. Santana would have been a guy I would have probably considered, but apparently steroids might have had something to do with that. So, yikes. Anyway, moving along to the White Sox. White Sox traded for Jeff Samardzija. He is the best pitcher on that staff, far and away, I think. He's probably going to finally get some wins, so that's a good thing. His fantasy value's through the roof. However, he moved to the American League last year. His ERA went up a little bit. His WHIP went up a little bit. Playing against a DH versus a pitcher is a big deal. We'll see. There's a lot of good bats in the AL Central, so we'll see. I don't really like Samardzija this year as much as most guys, but it is what it is. He's the best pitcher on the staff. The Yankees going with Tanaka. I think CC Sabathia would have been a decent choice had he not had a horrible spring. And Tanaka is the best pitcher on that staff. The only reason I would have went with CC if I was him is if he did have a good spring and you want to continue to roll, keep the ball rolling confidence-wise, I should say. But Tanaka, when healthy, he's the best pitcher on that staff, if not the best pitcher in the American League East. Tanaka, however, is probably a ticking time bomb. So we'll see about that Tommy John surgery potentially for him. That's a big risk if you got him fantasy wise. So keep that in mind. There's starters and opening day starters, I should say, and my disputes to them. Next week, we're going to go over several things, mostly fantasy baseball. Sunday night game kicks off everything. Then, of course, Monday is going to be the big day that everybody plays. They'll be right into season. I think most of the teams play Friday. We're coming to you live Friday morning, pending any tornadic activity in Kansas or any other thing that we can't prevent. So anyway, again, shout out to everybody in Wichita, Kansas, and the surrounding area. Sucks right now. I know a bunch of fences down, some trees down, stoplights down, power's out. It's a sucky situation there. So if you have anybody in that area, definitely give them a call. Make sure everything's okay. Help out as much as you can. Anyway, so that's pretty much it for today. Short show, like I said. We'll get back to normal next week. Sorry about the time change and everything today, but we'll be back up and rolling and get you guys all the info we can about your fantasy sports team. Again, hit the subscribe button. You're watching this on our YouTube channel, so you already know about us somehow. Congratulations. And please spread the word. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook to get all the updates. Obviously, the YouTube channel is where we do a lot of our stuff, so keep us in mind there. Also, website www.sportsbrosworld.com. Check out Timbo Slice's blog, my Sages 7 video blog, our weekly show here, and on the Google Hangouts. And yeah, I guess that's about it. Thank you for watching. Again, sorry about the delay and, everything that went on, but couldn't be prevented. Keep Timbo Slice in your thoughts as he's cleaning up his disastrous yard. So anyway, till next time, thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you soon.